Assalamu alaikum. I'm your sister Naomi, and welcome to what I hope will be a story time. And I have so many stories. I have so many that I hope that I can convey. I hope that I can communicate this in a clear way. And my stories are like so connected. They can keep going. I want to make it kind of clean. So I want to give the story of the war with a cousin of mine. I'm going to call her Nancy, a war that I declared on her. And so for anyone who hasn't listened to any of my other messages, I was raised in foster care. It is very dangerous when you have a family that is fractured, that is separated, when someone knows this person doesn't have a mother, that, their father's in jail, their siblings are separated, you would be surprised at how it is, in fact, family members, other relatives that come in and take advantage and exploit and abuse the fact that that family is shattered. So you may see examples of that if, say, you have siblings that are not growing up in the same household and someone claiming to be more of a sibling to that person than their actually biological sibling is, or somebody being raised by other than their parents, and then when the parent wants to reconcile or have a relationship with that child, then they're, no, I'm the real parent. You have a lot of that, and it's not strangers. It's not. It's the family. It is very dangerous. That people will be so protective, and they will defend and they will cover their immediate nuclear family members, but then pick at and do whatever they want with family members who don't have that nucleus unit, if I'm making any type of sense. And so, because my brothers and I have a younger sister, but we have a different father, so we were not raised together. I was raised in foster care. I have an older brother. Um, have an older brother that was raised in Puerto Rico. We are all same mother, same father. We are all stair steps. There's one that passed. Um, I can get into that. I have talks of that if you want to find it in my other videos. But I'm just gonna say my older brother and my youngest brother, even with my little sister. So my family is so ignorant that they would have, like, say there's a family gathering, and because my brothers and I, alhamdulillah, we were always wanting to look for our mother and, look for our sister and have her around. And when my older brother found them and was starting to have a relationship with our little sister, maybe she was 6 or 7, we had family members that would be like, it would be something stupid like, you know, uh, there's a family event, you can't bring your little sister. Oh, we're scared of a 6-year-old. I look back now and I know it was my mom they were scared of. They would talk all this when we were little about your mom was this and your mom was that and she lucky. And I look back now and they were jealous, intimidated. If you said my mama's nickname was Pee Wee, you said Pee Wee and they would run. They were cowards. They were cowards. I didn't realize it at the time. So it was just always something. And so I realize now that it was our family and my mother and everything was just fair game. Now, mind you, people could have their opinion. It was legitimate. Uh it was legitimate that my mother didn't raise us. There was accusations of abuse. There was drama. Those things are true, right? Just like we all have someone in our family that has some type of uh, fractured, abusive, some type of story that we know of. That's the cousin, her dad's in jail. That's the cousin, her mom is on drugs. That's the cousin who the mom don't take care of her and comes here and there and there. We all kind of know that, right? It's one thing to know that. But I would think that those are the people that you need to protect, not that you need to exploit, take advantage of, be abusive, and just kind of like grit your rocks off, So uh, I think that my relatives, they kind of felt like, oh, whatever, fair game. Not too much because, like I said, they were afraid of my mother. So you fast forward, and I have this cousin named Nancy who's never met my mother. I think my mother says she saw her one time when she was little, like 3 years old, or perhaps younger, because my mother says she was in Pampers. And she is maybe 5 to 7 years older than me. We fast you fast forward, and it's very clear that Nancy knows that no one in my family likes my mother whenever her name is mentioned. And Nancy is really close to our aunt. I'm going to call her Gloria. She's very close to the youngest of my father's sister, named Gloria. And now Gloria, this goes to show you how people use your children against you also. Gloria goes back and forth to Puerto Rico. She'll spend a few years in Puerto Rico and come back to Chicago. Her family spent a couple of years and back and forth. And so, but when she's in Chicago, she would visit my brother, who was at the time in a group home. And I guess that's her claim to fame. Like, I'm his mama. I'm his real mama. I can't stand his mama. I took her place. And I guess that was the theme that Nancy kind of like, she felt like, yeah, you the mama. My brother, very clearly, he spent, my brother was in a group home from the age of 7 to 17. And the last year, I think when he turned 17, he did move in with my Aunt Gloria. And then he got into independent living, got his own apartment, and went off into the Air Force. So no one raised us. No one raised my brother. My youngest brother and I were raised by the system. So we grew up, my brothers and I, just hearing all this negativity about our mother. And yes, she had her flaws. And we even had our own relationships with her. But whatever. No one ever nipped it in the butt. No one ever stopped. No one ever said, that's inappropriate. Don't talk like that. No, it went from one generation to the next generation. My cousin Nancy. Now she feels like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I can. So now I have to admit, nobody was abusive with it around us. Nobody weaponized it like around us as far as the cousins. But it was very clear that nobody liked her. And should she be mentioned, it was just nothing but negativity. That's when we were little. So we grow up, we're grown, and a tragedy occurs. My brother is brutally murdered. He is murdered. It's a shock. It's traumatic. I to this day I can't talk about it. I can't even think about it. I can't look at a picture. I don't want to know the date that it happened. I don't even care. That happens. And so immediately my Aunt Gloria, I'm his mother. I'm this. Now, mind you, my brother has a relationship with our biological mom. He talks to her every single day, and he has a relationship with me also. And he's living in Utah. I'm in California. My mother's in Chicago, Illinois. My father's in Michigan. We're all kind of in different places. And my dad's side of the family, my father, he definitely did not stand up as a leader of the family. He did not initiate nothing. He didn't do anything. It was just a hot mess. So his family members, they, like the maggots that they are, they kind of took charge. They did what they wanted to do. Let's put it like that. So now with that behind us, the trial is coming up. The trial is coming up now. My parents and us, his immediate families, were already offended because they cremated my brother. They had this ghetto funeral, from what my understanding is. We had beef. There was threats. It was so much drama that I didn't even go. And even in, like when they do the obituary, they put my aunt's name as the mom. They're extremely disrespectful. It is one thing to talk junk. It's another when you're just so bold with it that you put your name, you put other people's name as the siblings, whatever, all that goes. And we're just still in shock. This is a shock. They got the guy who did it. Trial. We're waiting for trial. We're making sure that these charges stick. And then I put it upon myself that I was going to go testify and do a victim statement. And I was going to face this, this thing that attacked my brother. So if that's not enough, right? And so my mother wants to come with me. And of course she can do a statement if she wants to, because legally she's his mother, right? So it's only the immediate family members, his estranged wife, and we're the only ones who can make a statement. And so my mother's like, I want you to do it. And so we fly to Utah, and we also hear and we know that my family members are also going there too. No problem. Yes, you're raggedy, y'all are disrespectful, whatever, but okay. So when we plan on going, my mother and I fly out the same day. However, we're flying out of two different states, so we fly in at different times. So my mother flies in first, and she flies in first, and I talked to her before she gets on the plane. This was like maybe her second time getting on a plane. She was nervous, and she gets on the plane. She lands in Salt Lake City, and then as these hours pass, right? And so as I'm on my way to the airport. My mother calls me, and she's like, "They put their hands on me. They put their hands on me." And I'm like, "What? Wait, who put their hands on you?" And so she thought it was my brother's estranged wife, right? She's like, Kim, I'm going to call her Kim. She's like, I was at the airport and I'm coming down the escalator and someone says, "What are you doing here, B?" And it was Kim. And I'm like, now this is social media. People can talk for years, but very rarely, like in that situation, they had never met in person. My mother had never met my brother's ex estranged wife in person. They had a relationship before too. And because of the way it was handled, my brother's passing and how they dealt with all that, they had beef. And so she sees my mother at the airport and she's like, "What you doing here?" Ba, 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 ba. And now she's really not that froggy. She was only doing that because coincidentally, she was there to pick up my cousin and my father's side that were they were going also to, I guess, support her. I get to support her. Um, and so my mother says she comes down the escalator. She sees this fat white girl, and she like, "What you doing here, B?" And my mother's like, "What are you talking about? That's my son. What are you talking about? That's my son." And then my mom said that all of a sudden, like her glasses flew off, so she assumed that it was Kim that hit her, and she said, I got hit, and that I guess my uncle was there, grabbed her, and was like, "See, my mother used to be a gangbanger. Okay, she had hands, right?" And so he grabs her and he's like, "Calm down, Pee Wee, calm down. Come on, you in the airport, calm down." And so security comes out and they come out and they put my mother in the room. And that's where mother's calling me from. And I'm like, "Wait, Kim hit you? What? Wait, what's going on?" And so I call my cousin Nancy, right? This is her little best friend, my cousin. And I'm like, who hit my mother? Who touched my mother? Like, why? Well, I didn't say who because I thought it was Kim. And she basically said it was her, right? And she's like, "Yeah, your mom, she was blah blah blah." So what happened was when they put my mom in the office, the security was looking at the footage, and what ended up happening was, my mother was talking to Kim and telling her, I'm his mother, and my cousin came from behind and like hit my mom from behind, knocked her glasses off, like the coward that she is, like the coward that she is, and knocked her glasses off and hit my mom. And so then and then my uncle comes and grabs, so my mom didn't even get a chance to look back or anything like that. So when she's looking at the camera, she's asking me, she's like, "Okay, I need you to tell me all your family members who are coming because I don't recognize these people." So she's giving me different descriptions, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, that's my cousin Nancy. That's the one who hit me." And so it's all this drama. So I call my cousin. I'm like, you hit my mother?" "Oh no, she was the aggressor. She was coming at us. She was coming at us. What are you talking about? What do you mean? You're gonna see when when the footage and the truth comes out, And I was like, because then my sister, we're like, you hit the wrong mother. Like we're not like y'all. We're not like y'all, right? Like, so I'm like, you hit the wrong mother. So I got all this drama. The police get involved. They press charges on my cousin, and all this is going on, right? Now, mind you, this is like the night before we all have to go to the courthouse and face this demon who murdered my brother. Do you think these people had any respect for my mother or for myself or anything like that? Do you think? No, they absolutely did not. Nobody had no mercy. Nobody had no compassion because, as I said, this is like a generational thing. You know, the older generation were like, oh, she's fair game. These people are fair game. They have no protection. And so then my cousin feels like, oh, I have the liberty. Oh, you're, my white best friend who reminds me of my white mom. She had nothing to do with it. She doesn't know my mother. So she felt the right. She had to defend my brother's estranged wife, disrespect my brother by hitting his mom, and it's okay because she had to respect the great white hope. She had to defend, this white girl from this crazy black woman who was my mother, right? So I'm like in shock, and even my mother were like the day before, like, what is that about, and why would your cousin sucker punch me like that? And I'm like, I don't know. So we go to the court, and it is truly amazing that once again I'm in mourning. These people are not taking anything away. You may love him as a brother, but that was your cousin. You may have loved him as a son, but that's your nephew. They didn't even give me no condolences. It was crazy. So we get to the courtroom. They had to bring us in two different groups. Okay. Now, the young lady who my brother had a real relationship with, she's the one that helped us out. She was the one that was there supporting us, her and her mother. And so can you imagine when we get to the courthouse, it's so many of my family members who couldn't put their hatred aside and say, hey, we're all here in mourning. We all need to squash this. First of all, y'all need to mind your business, because how my mother treated her children is not your business. That's us. That's an internal thing. Just like y'all crazy family issues. Nobody gets involved in that. No, they couldn't set that hatred aside. So when we get into, and then my mother was also on site. When I see your cousin, it's on site. She was also on that type of time. So when we get to the courthouse, can you believe that we had to sit behind the murderer? Can you believe that? We had to sit, my retarded relatives, they sat all over there. They had to have security. They had to have security in the middle of us. I go up there and I have to lay eyes and not see, if not for Islam, I have to not look and not jump and not want to murder, kill, not want to avenge the death of my brother. And do you think that when I came off the stand shaking, even when reporters, they put me in the newspaper, do you think any of my cousins, younger cousins, just on some human, I love you, I'm sorry for your loss, condolence? Nobody. These people are wicked, okay? And so after that, did that, and so then we started the process. And these people, they, because of course it happened in the airport, there's footage, and I even told my cousin, listen, we can take care of this, one or two ways. This was my mother's proposition. You meet my mother in an alley or my sister, and she get her lick back, or we're gonna press charges. And my cousin was like, you're not going to press charges. I'm like, because your mom was white. See, I'm sorry. There's going to be a theme here. And this is what I've learned from my mentor, and I believe it. When you have a white mother, an Anglo-Saxon, and you are dealing with black and brown people who are white supremacists who put you on a pedestal, then even the children of think that they are just better because, and like I said, perhaps when my mother was confronting my brother's estranged wife, perhaps she saw her white mama in her and had to defend and protect her, but she thought we was playing. And I'm like, listen, you can either meet my mama in an alley, or my sister wanted to get up with you. I'm all the way in California, and I'm not even going to dirty my hands with you. I would rather my mom get her lick back, okay? Or we're going to press charges. She did not believe us. She did not believe me. And once again, nobody on that side of the family, I think I had one cousin call me and was like, you know what? This is all wrong. You're both wrong. How am I wrong? How was I wrong? First of all, I'm minding my business. What? I don't hit people's mothers. Like, I wouldn't hit no one from behind, number one. First of all, let's establish that we don't want to do violence. Let's just say that, okay? Number one. Number two, if we got to get violent, I'm not going to do it from behind. Come on now. It's like hitting a kid, all right? And so that's just one experience that I had. I pressed charges, and I think that more people stopped talking to me. They got upset. They chose sides. That's really strange. That's really strange. And even to this day, they no one ever said, I'm sorry that you lost your brother. I'm sorry I'm sorry for your loss. They made it about them. They made everything about them. But like I said in the other video, thank God that there is a judgment day. Thank God. All right, so that's just one crazy story, and I will be back with another. Please leave a comment and let me know if how would you react given the circumstances that I gave? And I apologize. It was kind of like all over the place, a lot of people involved. But yeah, that's one of our story times. And we pressed charges, and my cousin had it on her record. And I issue statements. I wasn't anonymous, And you know what I hate is when these people, when they're young and, they gangbangers, they're hard. And then when they get older, they know what they all do. They all become Christian. All right. See you on the next story time.